Milestones are important and always recognized. In the Torah portion this past week, we speak of two milestones. There is the sabbatical year, as marked in every 7-year cycle, which is commemorated by way of leaving the land lying fallow. And there is the Jubilee Year, marking the end of 7 such sabbaticals on the 50th year. That was celebrated in a big way with special rituals both in the temple and throughout Israel. 50 years. It's a special milestone, and the Torah instructs that every 50 years in Israel should be recognized as such. But what was the underlying point of all this celebration and commemoration? Was it merely to mark the milestone, or was it something more? You know, the Hebrew word for Jubilee is Yovel, which comes from the root word Havala, which means to move forward. In other words, take this moment and move forward with it. It was a significant year. Most people would have only ever lived through one. Today, you'd be more likely to live through two, but that's it. It's a unique moment in time, and if you were fortunate enough to be there, to experience it, then you cannot allow the moment to pass you by. You have to Yovel, Havala, let the moment move you forward. Consolidate the experience and the inspiration up until this point and build upon it as you enter into the next 50 years. Quite curiously, the Torah sometimes uses a different term to describe the Jubilee year, Olam. Now, we know the word to ordinarily translate as world. Every blessing acknowledges God as Melech HaOlam, King of the world. Why then is it also used to describe the Jubilee year? Why would we refer to this special moment as a world? Because I suggest to you this milestone is essentially a transformative experience and moment in time. It's taking you out of one world and into another. Indeed, we find other instances where 50 is a transformative phase in Jewish life and living. For example, the Jewish people left Egypt, counted 49 days, and on the 50th day they were given the Torah and proclaimed God's nation. They were leaving one life and entering into another. It's a whole new world. In temple times, a Levi was only allowed to do service in the temple until the age of 50. That was his world up until that point, and now he's moving into something else. So 50 takes you into a new phase of your existence, or to put it in modern jargon, when you hit the 50 mark, you're leaving one normal and entering into a new normal. Today, there's no longer a concept of the Yovel or Jubilee celebration, but the lesson to be gleaned therefrom is more paramount than ever. You see, sometimes you don't have to wait a Yovel a full 50 years. Sometimes something can happen in your own olam, in your own life and world, that can be a transformative experience, such that it is anticipated that when you emerge, things will be different. Life will be different. We've all undergone a life-changing year filled with ups and downs and varied forms of chaos. This wasn't just my olam, my world, or your world. This was the whole world. Now, call me naive, but after such a period in time, I always assumed things would be different when we came out the other side. And so the other week in Shul, I couldn't help but smile inwardly, if not somewhat bitterly, when one complaint on a Friday night, something to do with timings. The next morning, before davening, another complaint about something else. Still later that same morning, a disagreement between two members, other political murmurings, and I think to myself, what happened to the new normal? Why are we just continuing from where we left off a little over a year ago? To be blunt, so many people died. Indeed, each one too many. For a whole year, there was no politics, no murmurings, no complaining, a machaya. Everyone took stock and saw life in context. Are we really going to lose that now? Are we really going to go back to normal? Surely we should take the lesson of the Yovel, of the Havala, and use this past year, build on the experience to move forward into a new normal with new prospects, new opportunities, new growth, and always underpinned by mutual respect. It's about internalizing the experience and using it to propel you forward. When people ask me the question in the past, do you think this pandemic is a reset for humanity? My answer was always the same. It has brought a lot of uniqueness and goodness out of a lot of people. But whether we are going to ensure to hold on to that remains to be seen. I dare say, it still remains to be seen. Finally, one of the primary rituals during the Yovel year in Israel was the blowing of the shofar. What was the significance of this? The commentaries explain that people took a potential financial hit during the year. A lot of clemencies were put into motion as part of the celebrations. Servants were set free, outstanding debts were canceled, land purchases which were leased within the Jubilee cycle would now revert back to original owners. You might have found it psychologically, emotionally, and certainly financially difficult. But the shofar was sounded all around for one and all to hear. It reminded everyone that, hey, it may be difficult, but you're not alone. Everyone is in this together. Nothing strengthens the spirit of mankind like universal public action. The fact that everybody is a part of it is the greatest source of encouragement. And so that's the ultimate takeaway from Yovel. You know, a leaf, a twig, and a piece of bark, they look nothing alike. Each has a unique function in the development of the tree, but there's no question. They're part of the same tree. And their very existence is possible only as long as they're unified with the tree itself. It's only in that way that the tree can continue to grow. So as it seems that we are experiencing, please God, our final emergence from this life-changing year, let's work together as a community in unity, striving to create a wonderful new normal, a wonderful new world. And as indeed we conclude the portion with Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek, let us be strong, stronger together forever. Amen.